everybody, this is Caitlin here, and welcome back to our second round of spoilers for today. We are getting right into it and looking at the final starter deck for Reiya cluster. It is here. We've been hyping it up ever since this artwork got leaked. It is the vampires, the children of the night, and we are here with Reiya, the fourth daughter of the Mikage, the mysterious fourth daughter who never got a card in Lapis cluster, although she was kind of alluded to she was alluded to be the most powerful out of the daughters. And we had no reason as to why. People are obviously discussing why she looks a little bit like Zero, whether she is Zero or not. But I don't know. We're going to have a little discussion about that in another video, a little theorizing time, I think. But looking at her here, on her ruler side, she's obviously a vampire. She has the Judgment of 3, which is 2 dark and 1 void. She obviously has energized for darkness. At the beginning of the game, you put a mystery counter on this card, so kind of similar to the strength counters that Kirik had. Reiya here has mystery counters, which is different, obviously, than the normal blood counters. So some of the vampires from Lapis cluster that specifically use blood counters, or they use 100 counters, might not necessarily meld too well with Reiya, because obviously she specifically needs mystery counters, but maybe there'll be another way to kind of mix the different vampires up together. You can tap her and put a mystery counter on this card. So similar to how other rulers had the second ability if you tap them, it might be a good idea once this starter deck is out. You could maybe mix this into blue, make it blue-black, and you use Flute's Water Dragon so that can tap for stone while you tap Reiya for mystery counters. Notice at the bottom here she has her sealed ability, which we don't know what it does yet, but I think it's got something to do with obviously the sword that she's carrying here. A vampire who suddenly appeared in this world with a mysterious castle. I wonder where we heard something about that before, eh? But flipping over, and oh my gosh, the Jroller side is absolutely gorgeous. Look at that booty down there. That booty is wonderful. She is obviously Reiya, fourth daughter of the Mikage, still on the other side. She is 12-12 with flying, which is pretty awesome. I'm not exactly sure how she's flying. Those wings at the bottom there look like they're either coming out from her kimono or they are maybe coming out from her ribbons. I'm not too sure there. It's a little bit weird, but anyway, she has flying, obviously. When this card enters the field, you put 3 mystery counters on it, so that's very nice. She's 12-12, which is actually quite insane. You can tap her and remove a mystery counter from this card and destroy target resonator, which is hella good. So basically, just by tapping her and removing a counter, you'll be able to just remove something. So obviously, you're kind of hoping that your opponent doesn't have barrier from darkness, because obviously that would kind of kill this strategy quite hard. But otherwise, it is pretty cool. Obviously, the sealed ability looks like it's changed on the second side. The text or this and symbol is different from this side, so potentially the sealed ability will be changing once she flips over. And at the bottom here it says, the ominous moon will cut you to ribbons. So this is a mysterious stranger who has appeared with the castle into this world. So it's very interesting, and I'll have a lot to talk about with Reiya, obviously, but we'll save that for another video for another time. Next up we have Averman, Malicious Eye in the Dark. I feel like we've seen this before, but it was a blue resonator, I feel like, or that might have been something else. This seems pretty similar to something that we've already seen. It's a 2-drop resonator. It is 1 black and 1 void. 600 is a familiar. When this card is put into a graveyard from the field, put a mystery counter on your Jroller. So it's not something that is immediately good. It's only good upon it dying. So it's one of those things where you can put it as a chump blocker. The only kind of downside is that it's a 2 cost for a chump blocker for an effect that you only get when it dies or whatever. So a little bit disappointing. For some reason it's an SR. I'm not quite sure why this is an SR, because it seems a little bit lackluster, but anyway, or maybe, no, I was about to say it was Beast for Star, but it doesn't really, because it's in the corner there, it says Star. Its eye communicates knowledge to Reiya. Next up we have, a familiar face. We have Alucard, the Vampiric Noble, who, if you guys remember from all the way back in Grimm Cluster, originally Alucard turned into Dracula, obviously being, I believe it was when he was summoned from not a fairy tale book, but rather from a dark book of kind of horror stories and whatnot. So it was, at first he was Alucard, and then he became Dracula. He is a 3 cost, it's 2 darkness and 1 void. 600, so not the best stats for a 3-drop. He has the ability that other vampires you control gain 200. So I'm a little bit iffy about it. Obviously, I think there's better things to use to strengthen up your vampires or whatnot, because I believe there is the Darkness Edition, the Dark Castle, whatever, from the previous starter deck, the Mikage one, which I think that's a 3 cost as well, or it might be a 2 cost. I'm not quite sure. I'll need to look that up again. But then also that one is gives all darkness resonator, so not specifically vampires. So you could just mixing other darkness residents into this, so I'm not too sure. It seems a little bit costly just to give your vampires a little bit of a buff, but the artwork is very nice. It's giving me like a very Beauty and the Beast vibes with the rose here and everything, and this wild, like, lights, I was going to say blonde, but it looks more like a bluey white colour hair swaying in the dark wind. Show me your strength, says Reiya. I don't know who she's talking to. Again, another familiar face here. We have Ashen Snow White, a 2 cost, 2 darkness, 500, 700 fairy tale, so it looks like the Children of the Night are a mix of fairy tales and vampires, so that's quite interesting. You can remove a mystery counter from your Jroller. This card gains 200, 200 and precision until end of turn. Play this ability only once per turn. So your mystery counters are getting some more usage other than removing resonators or whatever when Reiya flips over. You can also use them in conjunction with resonators here. So obviously you can use it here with Snow White. She becomes a 700, 900 with precision, which is very, very nice. The artwork here is really pretty. I've heard some people complaining that they don't like this artwork, and I think it's mainly to do with the kind of chest area of Snow White's dress here. But you know what? I think it's quite nice artwork. It's really kind of cool, monochromatic kind of style here. A story has yet to be told in this world. So, very, very interesting, alluding to a couple of things here. Next up, we have Bats from the Dark Castle, a 1-drop, 0 attack, 400 defense, a bat, obviously. It flies, even though, you know, it's not really doing too much. This card gains 200 attack for each mystery counter on your Jroller. So this is something that late game would be a bit better, because obviously it buffs up the attack of your bats, but at the same time, it's just like, considering the defense, it's not going to really be doing much, because if your opponent has something like block flyers, then this isn't really going to do too much work for you. Potentially, if your opponent doesn't have anything to stop flyers, then it could be okay, depending on how much you can ramp the mystery counters. But at the same time, it's just like, it's also another thing that Alucard does not buff, considering it's a bat, not a vampire. So, again, I'm kind of a little bit iffy on it, but it's very interesting. When Gil's group arrived at the Dark Castle's gate, it opened as if to welcome them. Ooh, mysterious. Next up, we have a mystery chant, which is actually kind of interesting. We've got like a new form of chant here. So we've had battle arts, we've had, I think, elemental magic as well, and we've had mystery, which is interesting. We have Dark Knight Butterfly, a 1-cost chant. Your opponent discards a card. If this card was awakened, your opponent discards 2 cards instead. Remove 2 mystery counters from your Jroller to awaken it. So this is kind of like, I'm trying to think, what other cards was there that could discard? Lapis Darkstorm could discard cards, but this one doesn't do it at random. Your opponent gets to choose. It is a 1-drop, so technically you're only paying 1, and you're just making your opponent get rid of a card or whatever. Of course, giving them the choice of what card they can discard, they can like maybe set up their graveyard a little bit so that they can like maybe fish something back out and whatnot. So I'm not too sure how like good this one is, but it is very gorgeous artwork. I'm not gonna lie, it does look very pretty. Next up, we have Empress Carmela, another returning character from way back in Grimcluster days. She is a 3-cost, she's 1 darkness, 2 void. Again, 600, 600, so not the best stat-wise for our resonators here. When this card enters the field, you destroy target resonator with total cost 1. I feel like there's other resonators that do this job better and for cheaper with better stats, so at the same time, it's just like, it's kind of okay, not too sure about it. At least she's got wings, even though she can't fly again. What is it with Force of Will with things that have wings that cannot fly? I do not know. But next up, we have something that's probably going to ruffle a few feathers. It certainly ruffled mine. We have Grim the Pitch Black Vampire. Yes, we have our boy Grim. For some reason, he's become a vampire. I'm not quite sure why. He is a 4-cost. He's 2 dark and 2 void, a 900, 900 with flying. When this card enters the field, put target resonator from your graveyard into your hand. You can pay 2 black. J/resonators your opponent controls gain -XX until end of turn, where X is the number of fairy tales you control. So it kind of mixes in well with the Million deck, obviously, because he is a fairy tale and he can help your fairy tales out. This one might see a little bit of play, I think, in the fairy tale build. It just depends. He obviously helps out fairy tales more than he does vampires, although it's very interesting to see that he's a vampire. So I'm curious. His eyes seem transfixed on the crimson moon, as if trying to remember something. I have a lot of things to say about this card. I don't want to like blab too much about story theories, whatever, because I'm going to make a separate video about that, theorizing a couple of things. But I will just say this artwork is absolutely gorgeous. He's got so many wings on him, it's kind of insane. The wing motif is just out of control here on this card. Next up, we have Moonlight Shadow, a 1-drop 400, 400, who is basically just a vanilla resonator. Doesn't really do anything. It's not got any special abilities or anything like that. Reiya's servants stayed motionless until given an order. And there's really not really much else to say about this card, other than that the artwork is absolutely gorgeous. I'm liking it, seeing it, very, very nice. 10 out of 10 artwork-wise. Next up, we have a quick cast mystery chant. We have Sword of the Half Moon. Very interesting. We've had Crimson Moons, and now we've got Half Moons. So 2 cost chant, it's 2 darkness. Target J/Resonator gains 600 until end of turn. If this card was awakened, put it into its owner's hand as it resolves. So awakening is to remove 2 mystery counters from your Jroller. So you could do this. It might not outright kill it. Like, say you were using this to just kind of hurt something. For 2, well, and obviously removing 2 mystery counters, you could put it into its owner's hand instead. So if it doesn't outright kill it, you can at least remove the counters while, to awaken it, whatever. And just make sure that it gets out of the field. Again, your opponent will be able to play it again if it goes back to their hand, which is a little bit disappointing. So if it's got like an enter ability, that's going to be annoying for it to re-trigger. Despair in the light of the ominous moon, Reiya, the 4th daughter of the Mikage says. And next up, we have another quick cast mystery chant. We have Sword of the New Moon, and this artwork is very, very pretty. I'm liking it a lot. It's a 1 cost. Choose 1. Destroy target Resonator with total cost 1 or less, or destroy target Resonator with total cost 4 or less if this card was awakened. So immediately, for only 1 cost, you're getting more bang for your buck with this card than you were with Carmela. So again, I would prefer running this instead of Carmela. To awaken it, you remove a mystery counter from your Jroller. So you're only removing 1 mystery counter for the same cost as if you were playing Carmela or whatever. So I would favour this chant over playing Carmela, just anyway. But it is a versatile chant. I'm not gonna lie, it is very, very nice. And then next up, we have the special magic stone for this deck. We have Stone from the Dark Castle. It is a special magic stone. You treat it as a darkness magic stone, produces dark. All that dark magic here. It's a very, very creepy looking stone. When this card enters the field, put a mystery counter on your Jroller. Pretty standard considering the kind of like synchronicity, if that's even how you say that word. Is that how you say that word? I have no idea. Is it sync? No, I'm not sure. I'm not too sure now. I'm confused. A stone of endless night that draws in the darkness. And then finally, our darkness magic stone. Not much else to say about it. It produces darkness. It's looking awesome. I'm liking these starters, guys. I'm hell of excited. What starter decks are you going to be choosing? Let me know down in the comments down below, and I will see all you guys later.